My beloved child, I see the quiet questions in your heart. I know the moments when you felt replaced, when it seemed like someone else stepped into the space that once felt meant for you. You watched from a distance, wondering if your chapter had ended while someone else began theirs. But listen carefully, because what you are seeing right now is not the full story. There are seasons when life appears to rearrange itself in ways that feel confusing. Someone else may seem to be standing where you once stood. They may believe the path now belongs to them. From the outside, it might look like the page has already turned. Yet what you cannot see is that the story is still being written. Pause for a moment and breathe this in. What looks permanent right now is only a moment in motion. What seems settled is quietly shifting. What feels like an ending is often the beginning of something deeper than you imagined. You were never meant to chase what was only temporary. Sometimes another person believes they have taken your place simply because they arrived during a moment when you stepped back. But stepping back does not mean disappearing. It does not erase your value, your purpose, or the unique path that was prepared for you. And here is the quiet truth many people never realize. No one can truly take what was meant uniquely for your journey. Stay with me here. Don't skip this moment, because something important is about to unfold. What is happening behind the scenes is far more meaningful than what your eyes can currently see. There is a reversal slowly taking shape, not loud, not dramatic, but precise and powerful in its own quiet way. While others may think the story has already chosen its direction, a different page is preparing to turn. A moment is approaching when clarity will replace confusion, and what seemed misplaced will return to its rightful space. But the most surprising part of this story has not even been revealed yet. Stay till the end of what is coming next, because the shift that is forming will explain why everything had to unfold exactly the way it did. And when you understand it, you will realize that something huge has been waiting for you all along. My beloved child, I see the silence you carry when the world moves on as if nothing changed. I know the moment you noticed someone else stepping into a space that once felt like it belonged to you. It was quiet, almost subtle, yet your heart felt it instantly. You wondered if the story had shifted without warning. You wondered if you had been forgotten. But pause with me for a moment, because what you are seeing right now is only the surface of a much deeper unfolding. Sometimes life allows a scene to play out in a way that feels confusing. Another person may appear confident, believing they now stand where you once stood. From the outside, it may even look like the chapter has closed for you. Yet the truth is far more mysterious than it appears. What seems settled is actually still moving. What feels final is only a pause between greater moments. And the space you think was taken was never truly designed to belong to someone else. There is something important you must understand. Certain paths in life carry a quiet signature that only one heart can fully walk. Others may pass through the same door, they may stand in the same room, they may even believe they have taken your place. But presence alone does not equal purpose. And this is where the story begins to turn. Because while someone may think they stepped into your position, something unseen has already begun to shift. Slowly. Quietly. Powerfully. Don't skip this moment. Stay with these words, because what is unfolding behind the scenes will soon make sense in a way that may surprise you. A reversal is forming, not through force, not through conflict, but through a gentle alignment that no one can rush or control. And the most unexpected part of this story is still ahead. Something huge is waiting to be revealed, and the next moment will show why everything you witnessed had to happen exactly the way it did. In the quiet hours when everything feels uncertain, a deeper truth begins to whisper. What you witnessed was never the final scene. It was only a moment placed in your path to test how you would see yourself when circumstances tried to rewrite your worth. Someone may believe they have stepped fully into your place. They may feel secure standing where you once stood. From their view, the story may look complete, as if the space has already chosen its new occupant. But there is something they cannot see. A place that was shaped for your spirit carries a rhythm that only you can truly match. Others may walk through it for a time, yet the harmony will always feel slightly out of tune. And slowly, quietly, life begins correcting what does not belong. You might not notice it at first. The shift rarely arrives with noise. It begins as small changes, subtle realizations, tiny moments where the truth starts revealing itself. Stay with this message for a moment. Don't skip, because this next part is where the mystery deepens. While you were wondering if your chapter had ended, something remarkable was taking place beneath the surface. Pieces were being moved, paths were being aligned, and moments were preparing to reconnect in ways that could never have happened before. What looked like loss was actually a pause. What looked like replacement was only a temporary arrangement. And soon, a realization will begin to spread, not just in your heart, but around the situation itself. Because when the right moment arrives, everything that felt misplaced will begin to move again. Stay till the end of this unfolding story, because the next part reveals the quiet sign that shows the reversal has already begun. Something subtle is about to appear, and once it does, nothing will feel the same anymore. Suddenly, a quiet realization begins to rise within you. For a long time, you watched the situation from a distance. You wondered if someone else had truly stepped into a role that once felt connected to your path. You questioned whether the door you once walked through had quietly closed behind you. But something inside you never fully accepted that ending. That small, steady feeling in your heart was not confusion. It was awareness. A gentle reminder that the story you believed was over was actually waiting for its true moment to unfold. Listen closely, because this part matters more than you realize. When someone believes they have taken your place, they often focus on what can be seen on the surface. The position, the attention, the appearance of being where you once stood. From the outside, it may look convincing. But deeper connections are never built on appearances alone. There is an energy, a presence, a quiet authenticity that cannot be copied. It belongs only to the person whose journey shaped that space in the first place. And slowly, people begin to notice the difference. At first it is subtle. A small feeling that something is missing. A quiet sense that the atmosphere has changed. Moments that no longer feel the same as they once did. This is where the shift quietly begins. Don't skip this moment. Stay with these words, because something huge is waiting just beyond this realization. While others may think everything has already settled, the truth is that the balance of the story is gently correcting itself. Situations that once felt out of place begin to move toward clarity. And when that moment arrives, it will not feel forced or dramatic. It will simply feel right. But the most surprising part has not appeared yet. In the next moment of this story, a sign will emerge that reveals why you were never truly replaced at all. And once you see it, the entire picture will start to change. Out of nowhere, a moment of clarity begins to form. You may not notice it immediately. It does not arrive with loud announcements or sudden scenes. Instead, it appears quietly, like a small light turning on in a room that once felt dim. People begin to sense something different. The space that once felt full suddenly feels slightly incomplete. Conversations do not carry the same depth. The atmosphere lacks a certain warmth that once existed without effort. And slowly, without anyone forcing it, the truth begins revealing itself. Because what made that place meaningful was never just the position or the appearance. It was the spirit you brought with you. The sincerity in your presence. The way your energy quietly shaped the moments around you. That kind of presence cannot simply be replaced. Others may try to fill the role, but authenticity has a signature. And that signature belongs only to the one whose journey created it. So while you were wondering if everything had moved on, something subtle has been unfolding behind the scenes. A quiet comparison has been forming. Not through judgment. Not through conflict. Simply through natural realization. People begin remembering how things once felt when you were there. They begin noticing the difference between imitation and genuine presence. Stay with this message. Don't skip, because something huge is about to be understood. What once seemed like a finished story is slowly opening again. Doors that appeared closed are quietly loosening. Thoughts that were certain are beginning to shift. And somewhere within this unfolding moment, a realization is approaching. The space that seemed taken was never truly meant to forget you. But the next part of this story reveals something even more surprising, because the coming change will not only restore what felt lost, it will show why the pause had to happen in the first place. And then, when you least expect it, a deeper understanding begins to rise. For a long time, you may have believed the pause meant you were being moved away from something important. Watching another person stand where you once stood might have felt like a quiet confirmation that your moment had passed. But the pause was never about removing you. It was about revealing something. Because when life allows a space to be filled too quickly, it often exposes what truly belongs there and what does not. Time becomes the mirror. And slowly, the truth begins reflecting back to everyone who is paying attention. You see, presence cannot be recreated by simply standing in the same position. What you carried into that space was shaped by your experiences, your sincerity, your quiet strength. Those qualities were never just visible on the surface. They lived in the atmosphere around you. And when that atmosphere changes, people begin to feel it. At first, they may not understand why. They simply sense that something once familiar now feels different. The harmony that once existed begins searching for its original rhythm. This is where the story quietly begins turning. Stay with these words. Don't skip this moment, because something meaningful is forming right now. While you thought the story had moved on, life has been preparing a deeper alignment. Not to recreate the past exactly as it was, but to reveal the truth about where you truly belong. And when that realization spreads, it does not arrive with conflict or noise. It arrives with clarity. The same people who once believed the situation had changed will begin to see the difference. The same space that looked settled will begin to shift again. But the most powerful moment of this journey is still ahead. Because in the next part, something unexpected will happen, something that quietly confirms that your place was never truly lost at all. And just when everything seems calm on the surface, a quiet turning point begins to appear. It does not arrive with loud announcements. Instead, it begins as a feeling, a small moment when someone pauses and realizes that something once familiar has been missing. The atmosphere begins to remember. Not through words, but through the subtle echoes of what once felt natural and effortless. The warmth, the sincerity, the quiet presence that used to fill the space without needing attention. These things cannot be imitated. And slowly, people start noticing the difference between someone standing in a place, and someone truly belonging there. You may not see this shift happening yet. From where you stand, it might still look as though everything continues as usual. But behind the scenes, something important is already unfolding. Awareness is growing. Small conversations begin to change direction. Thoughts that once felt certain begin to soften. Memories of how things once felt start returning to the surface. Stay with this moment. Don't skip, because something huge is quietly approaching. The story is moving toward a point where clarity replaces assumption. Where people begin to understand that certain roles in life carry a deeper connection than anyone realized at first. And when that understanding fully arrives, the balance of the situation begins to correct itself. Not through effort. Not through force. Simply through truth revealing its place again. But the most surprising part has not happened yet. Because in the next moment of this unfolding story, a realization will surface that explains why this entire pause had to happen in the first place, and why what is returning will feel even more meaningful than before. Then, quietly, the meaning of the pause begins to reveal itself. You once thought the delay meant distance. You wondered if time had moved forward without you, if the space you cared about had truly chosen someone else. But what seemed like separation was actually preparation. Because sometimes a moment must step away from you, so that its true value can be seen. While you were reflecting, growing, and learning to trust your own path, something else was happening in that same space you thought you had lost. Comparisons were forming naturally. Not through effort, but through simple experience. Slowly, people began to feel the difference. What once flowed effortlessly now required explanation. What once felt natural now felt slightly forced. The harmony that once existed began searching for the rhythm it recognized. Stay with these words. Don't skip this moment, because something huge is waiting just ahead. The pause was never about replacing you. It was about revealing the truth of where you truly belong. Sometimes clarity only appears after another path has been tried. And when that clarity arrives, it carries a quiet certainty. Suddenly the same space that seemed to move on begins remembering the energy that once shaped it. People begin recognizing the presence that brought meaning to ordinary moments. And this realization spreads quietly, like dawn slowly replacing the night. But the most powerful moment of this story is still approaching. Because in the next part, a subtle sign will appear, one that confirms the story is not returning to the past, it is preparing something even greater than what existed before. And then, almost unexpectedly, a gentle sign begins to appear. It may come through a simple moment, a memory resurfacing, a conversation shifting, or a quiet realization that something once taken for granted is now deeply missed. No one plans it. No one forces it. It simply happens. Because when something genuine once lived in a space, its absence eventually becomes impossible to ignore. The atmosphere begins searching for the presence that once made everything feel effortless. And that presence was you. You may still be standing at a distance, unaware that these small realizations are quietly forming. From your perspective, the story might still look unchanged. But beneath the surface, awareness is growing stronger. People begin to understand that some roles in life cannot be filled by appearance alone. They require a heart that naturally fits the rhythm of that place. They require sincerity that cannot be copied. Stay with this moment. Don't skip, because something huge is quietly moving closer. The realization that is forming will soon become too clear to overlook. The same situation that once looked certain will begin to open again, not because anyone demanded it, but because truth naturally finds its way back into balance. And when that balance begins returning, it will not feel like a competition. It will feel like recognition. But the next moment of this journey carries an even deeper revelation. Because soon, the reason you were guided through this entire experience will finally become clear, and what is waiting beyond that realization may surprise you more than anything before it. And now, a deeper truth begins to rise from everything that has unfolded. You believed this story was about losing something that mattered to you. Watching another person stand in that space may have made it feel as though the chapter had already chosen a new direction. But the experience was never meant to diminish you. It was meant to reveal you. Because sometimes the only way people truly recognize the value of something genuine is by witnessing the difference when it is no longer there. The contrast becomes the teacher. The absence becomes the mirror. And slowly, the realization grows clearer. What once felt natural was not ordinary at all. The warmth, the sincerity, the quiet connection that existed when you were present, those qualities cannot be recreated through effort alone. They belong to the heart that carried them. You may not hear these realizations directly. They often move quietly through thoughts, through reflection, through moments when someone pauses and understands what truly made that space meaningful. Stay with this moment. Don't skip, because something huge is approaching. The shift that has been forming is now moving closer to the surface. What once seemed settled will begin to feel different to everyone involved. Not dramatically, but unmistakably. And when that awareness fully arrives, the story will begin moving toward its next chapter. But here is the surprising part. The next chapter is not about returning to exactly what once was. It is about something deeper, something more aligned with who you have become through this entire journey. And the next moment will reveal why everything had to unfold in this precise way.